Okay, so why I love the Mighty Boosh. Uh, Once again, completely off the cuff. This could get a bit rambly and unfocused. Bear with me, yada yada yada. So, the first time I ever saw an episode of the Boosh, it was on Adult Swim at like 4 in the morning. Uh, and the episode I saw was Electro. And I didn't really know what to make of it at first. I was mostly just pretty weirded out. I was just like, wow, this is incredibly British and on a lot of drugs. Like, I think I was kind of disturbed at first. And, after that point, I wasn't really motivated to get into it any further until, like, a couple of years later. Somehow or other, like... Okay, I think what happened was, this friend of mine had this screenplay that he had written that he let me read, and this one role, he said he wanted to cast Noel Fielding. And so I googled Noel Fielding, and I looked at a bunch of pictures of him, and I was like, wow, he's incredibly hot. So then this like weird spiral happened where I was just like looking at as many pictures of Noel as I could find, and like I went on YouTube and watched the infamous Noelian Heights video, and like on a whim I ordered the complete run of the Boosh on DVD off Amazon, and I watched the whole thing like over the course of a couple of nights while very, very stoned. And yeah, it just sort of consumed me. Like, it was just so weird, and it was like, at first, for a lot of it, I didn't even laugh much. I was just sort of absorbed, even though, like, I didn't really find it all that funny on first viewing. It was just so fucking weird that, like, I couldn't ignore it. And and if pressed to say what I really like about it, I think that it just has this sort of good-natured vibe to it. Like, a lot of comedy that you see is kind of mean-spirited, I think. Like, a lot of it is based on, like, people insulting each other, or, like, snarking on things, or just sort of being negative about the world in general. And you don't see a lot of that in the Boosh. It's kind of this, like, general aura of childlike wonder and amazement. And even though, like, Howard and Vince, will sort of, like, snipe at each other a bit, like, you can tell there's genuine affection underneath it all. And, like, I'm sorry, they're blatantly in love with each other. Just, you can't ignore that. Like, with, a lot of my ships, I'm willing to allow for the possibility of anyone not shipping it. Like, I might want them to make out with each other, but that's just my personal interpretation or whatever. But Howard and Vince, I mean, come on. They're canon. They are. There's an episode where they actually kiss each other, and I think that's so great, too, because, like, with a lot of the same gender double acts that you see, they do the whole no homo thing a lot. With the Mighty Boosh, they just, that shit goes straight out the window, because, like, you'll see there's kind of a running joke with, like, various characters will refer to Vince as Howard's wife, and just, they never bother to contradict that, ever, because they just don't give a fuck, and then they kiss, and it's beautiful, and I don't see how anyone could not ship it, and it makes me so happy. And okay, Ricky, who requested this video, asked me to say why the Boosh are awesome both together and individually, so I guess I'll talk about them individually now. Noel, obviously, is the first one who I sort of fell in love with. Because, first because he's just so pretty and he's got that whole androgyny thing going on, which is never not going to be attractive to me. And Like, he's got that whole the childlikeness going on, and I think that's really cool. And like, he's got that brand of comedy that's all his own, even though he's got a lot of influences that he kind of wears on his sleeve. Even as he's like directly referencing things, he's making it his own, and like, there is nobody quite like him in the world of comedy or in the world of entertainment in general. He's just unique and beautiful and amazing. And then Julian, um, he took a little bit to grow on me. Like, his character Howard as well also took a while to grow on me. Like, I didn't like him at first as much as Vince, but now Howard is kind of the one that I identify with more. And Julian even more so himself, even though like Julian doesn't like put himself out there as much as Noel does. Like, it's harder to get a feel for his personality just from like what few interviews and shit he's done. Like, when he does interviews with Noel, he's usually like talking less. But like, from what I know of him, he's really introverted, not really comfortable with people, doesn't talk much. He's kind of bookish and intellectual, and and I can identify with that. And yeah, I've run out of things to say. But yeah, The Mighty Boosh is awesome, and you should totally watch it if you haven't already, because it'll blow your fucking mind. And yeah, bye.